Hi, I'm with Katie Houghton Ward, comic creator and artist. Thank you so much for joining us today, Katie. Have you always drawn and been interested in art?
I have. From a very early age, I remember just picking up pencils and paper from anywhere around the house and sitting in front of the TV and drawing, not even noticing I was drawing. And my family always very being encouraging of that and sort of supplying me with whatever I needed and pushing it sort of under my nose, so I just kept drawing, yeah.
Your father is an artist, and was he your greatest inspiration?
I think he was my biggest fan, and you know, my family are inspirational, and my father has always pushed me, and my mother as well, artistically, and he's always really challenged me to think as an illustrator and more as an abstract artist as well. So it's been a really interesting thing having such a different artist in my family challenging me on different levels, so I keep loosening up. Yeah, so he has, yes, he has.
You're extremely talented. Do you think it was something that you learnt, or it was something that you were born with?
It's definitely something that's grown in my artistic journey. I think that I got a basic ability from my father, who's a good illustrator as well, but I had to work really hard. I still have to work really hard. The angles that I choose sometimes push me to the point where I don't think I can do them, but I know I have to do them. One of my role models, one of my mentors said to me, if you see the shot, you're obligated to draw it. And so, unfortunately, I have a very wild imagination, so I never get out of those tricky shots, yeah.
You're obviously very successful in the comic world. What is the secret of that success?
Perseverance, hard work, and pushing yourself beyond what's comfortable at all times. If you're comfortable, you're really not growing. If you're not afraid, I don't think you're on the right path either. Fame isn't real, it's fleeting, it happens very fast, and that shouldn't be the reward. The work should be the reward. That's how I see it anyway.
Fantastic. And you just published a comic book. Where did you get the inspiration to do that? And do you prefer to create comics, or do you prefer your art or your street art?
I prefer to create comics, but I need to be a fine artist as well in order to balance that out. Sequential art is my true love, and ever since the moment I opened up a comic book, it was pretty much, I was smitten with the medium, and the love has just grown ever since. But it is heavily influenced by street art and urban contemporary illustration as well, and so I need them both to balance my lifestyle. Otherwise I get too bogged down in the details of high rendering and can go a bit nutty, so I need to loosen up and paint a lot, yeah.
Do you think you bring something different or special to the world of comics being a woman?
Because I've had to fight so hard to sort of be noticed just as an artist, I really wanted to take the emphasis away of being a woman in comics, because you know, I wanted equality to be in there. I wanted my art to shine through, and then to gender be something second. But as I've gone through this whole process of trying to become published and going back and forth to America, being a woman has actually been a burden and a gift as well. You know, there aren't many female creators in my genre, and at the same time, you know, getting taken seriously at this has been quite hard as well. And so it has been a journey, and to say being a woman hasn't been a part of it, in that it would be lying. It has stood out. Yeah, so I'd like to say I bring something to comics from a female's perspective, yeah.
Actually, I was going to mention that next, because it seems like there's a lot of scantily clad women. Is that because the readers are mostly men?
It is, it really is, and you know, it's a medium of escapism. You know, when the 70s and the 80s came, everything kind of went out the window, and it just went a little bit too far. And I think, you know, I'm all about freedom of expression, so I don't really have an opinion on the way they choose to express themselves. But the way I like to express my character is to have a bit of dignity, and to be focused more on her mind and her abilities rather than being allergic to fabric. Yeah.
Do you think portraying women in such a positive way in terms of being strong, sort of superhero characters, it sort of engenders young men that read the comics into having a better image of women, or encourage them to treat women in a better way, not just as sex objects?
I think it's not what I think about when I'm writing my comics or drawing them, but I do like to think that I'm catering to a higher level of human than the base level human when my comic books, like, I don't want to cater to that niche, cater to that want in society. I mean, it is there. It's a high want in society to see all of that graphic sex and violence. I just don't want to be a part of that, feeding that sort of negative loop. And so if, you know, maybe there is, the readers do kind of go, wow, I'm really enjoying reading this, and she's a very strong character, and you know, I find her attractive, I still like her, I still want to spend time with that character, and she's wearing clothes, you know. Maybe that's something, I don't know what it would do, but yeah, it's in my mind a little bit. But you know, I really want people to be endeared to my character for who she is, not her physicality, really. Yeah.
How do you think other women could get into the comic industry?
The same way other men should get into the comic industry, which is perseverance. Take criticism. Criticism is your best friend. Keep rebuilding, keep perfecting, study people that have gone before you, and put yourself out there, and don't be afraid to fail, I think. And it's really a matter of just keeping on going. And if you're a woman or if you're a man, I think we both suffer the same hurdles, because when you go to print, nobody knows you're a man and a woman, really. Your art's out there for the world to see, and they don't really mind whether you're a man or a woman. At the end of the day, they're reading your comic, you know, so yeah, keep going.
You recently released your own comic. What is it about, and what are the themes behind it?
Kulan is the comic that I just released in Heavy Metal, and the 8-pager that was in there is a prequel, taking a slice out of the character's psychology, sort of to give you an idea of her inner battles, her inner turmoils that she goes through before I introduce the full story. Kulan's a fantasy sci-fi comic, and it's really a vehicle for me to have a dialogue about the human condition, between the very primal part of us and the higher consciousness part of us. And it's it goes, and then there's lots of battles, and, and there's lots of monsters, and there's lots of awesome chicks fighting them. So yeah, that's what it's about.
Would you like your comic to turn into a film?
I wouldn't say no. Yeah. Yeah, at some point, even though that's heresy in a way, because we're all fighting that fight against comics and movies. But yeah, but we're helping each other out right now in mediums. So yeah, it would be nice. Yeah.
What is your ultimate goal?
To do a really good story, to entertain people, to draw what I see and be proud of it, and to have it go on and inspire people like I was inspired when I picked up my first comic book, to give back. Yeah. Thanks
so much for talking with us, Katie.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you, and until next time, be inspired. Coming up next, we jazz it up with Sarah Mackenzie.